Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Comey, let me begin by thanking you for your voluntary compliance with our request to appear before this committee and assist us in this very important investigation. I want first to ask you about your conversations with the president, the 3 conversations in which you told him that he was not under investigation. The first was during your January 6th meeting, according to your testimony, in which it appears that you actually volunteered that assurance. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you limit that statement to counterintelligence investigations, or were you talking about any kind of FBI investigation?
I didn't use the term counterintelligence. I was speaking to him and briefing him about some salacious and unverified material. It was in the context of that he had a strong and defensive reaction about that not being true. And my reading of it was important for me to assure him we were not personally investigating him. And so the context then was actually narrower, focused on what I just talked to him about. But it was very important because it was first true, and second, I was very, very much about being in kind of a J. Edgar Hoover type situation. I didn't want him thinking that I was briefing him on this to sort of hang it over him in some way. I was briefing him on it because we had been told by the media it was about to launch. We don't want to be keeping that from him. And if there was he needed to know this was being said.
The NSA, for example, has all the fiber optic taps across the United States and even around the world, plus trace route programs embedded in hundreds of places all over the network. So I knew they would know if packets were being passed around the U.S. or outside the U.S. or anywhere in the world, they could trace them and see who got them. I mean, they did that several years ago with the Chinese hack. They came in and said it came from that building, I think, in Shanghai. Well, they could do the same thing with virtually any hack. So right away, I began to question that assertion that they were hacking into the DNC.
No, I had Bill Binney on my radio program. He said 99% certainty. 34-year veteran, NSA, that it was not Russia. Now, some news outlets have also been reporting that former U.S. spies doubt this Russia hacking narrative, including Bloomberg. They were in an article entitled, "Why Some U.S. Ex-Spies Don't Buy the Russia Story." Even the liberal Nation, they wrote a new report, raises big questions about last year's DNC hack. The Washington Times did the same thing. Joining us now, California Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. One, I want to give you credit. It is true that if there's one person on earth that would know the source of this, wouldn't it be Julian Assange of WikiLeaks? And isn't it true WikiLeaks has never been wrong in 11 years?
Well, I don't know if they've never been wrong, but I know that he's the ultimate source.
Never been proven wrong. And the material they've released.
Proven wrong. Oh, yeah. The things that he released were honest and truthful. Now, some of the things he released, I'll have to admit to you, I would have preferred him not releasing. I thought it was wrong, but you take a balance of what's happened. He's disclosed massive amounts of information of which the government's been keeping secret from us, and I think it's a good thing that American people have transparency in their government.
One thing, and I've interviewed him 4 times on radio and 1 time on TV, and I asked him numerous times, would you ever release anything that would put people in the field, innocent people, in harm's way? And he swore he would not. Are you convinced that that's true? Because I can't think of an instance. Can you?
Well, when you say it's whether or not someone is intentionally doing that, I certainly don't believe that he would intentionally put American intelligence or military people at risk. But some of the things that have come out, and I would have preferred, I would think, yeah, well, not only embarrassing, but perhaps it's something that would have been best handled behind the scenes. But our government and all governments around the world have tried to hide massive amounts of information about what they're doing from their own people. And I think that what we have in WikiLeaks is an exposure that
I don't mean
those things that they want to keep secret.
You know, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, 3 times, 5 times. Allegedly, Julian Assange at 16, Kim.com at 16, hacked into the DOD, hacked into NASA. Now, he's 45, At what point is it America's fault that we have not built the cybersecurity to prevent that from happening? And at some point, do we blame our own government for its failure?
Well, I will just have to say that I don't think our government should have as many secrets as they have, and they've been keeping information from us. And
they're not doing their job.
Operation. Well,
we should be unhackable after 35 years.
Well, we should be unhackable, but we should make sure that information that doesn't deserve to be secret should be available to the American people.
Okay.
And in that, Julian Assange is doing a great service.
Let's talk about
a great service.
So he would be the one person that knows where this information came from.
Right.
Do you believe that this Trump-Russia collusion narrative will be proven false, and do you believe he holds the key?
The answer is absolutely yes, and I think that this Russian narrative that you're talking about, this idea, this unrelenting, sinister, story about how Trump colluded with the Russians in order to steal the elections is a total con job. It's a fraud, and it's masking a power grab, because what they're doing is they're trying to undermine the ability of the person the voters voted for. They're undermining his ability to assume the power and authority and appointments that the President of the United States is given authority to do by the voters.
It is possible that the media has lied to the American people, and the Democrats have lied to the American people for nearly a year, and that they've disrupted the flow of information and manipulated the flow of information in this country for nearly a year. You're saying, what is the percentage certainty that this has all been a lie?
In terms of what I believe, and after looking into this, I think it's about 99% that it's a total lie. This is and of course you've had these people who politicized our intelligence agencies, the Obama appointees who jumped into this, giving credence to a total fraudulent analysis of what happened. And this was not something where Russia colluded with Trump in order to steal the elections.
Mueller then?
They are stealing the elections.
Doesn't Robert Mueller then need to talk to Assange? Doesn't he need to at least look at the evidence or attempt to get the evidence? Does he care about the truth? And
these people haven't even looked at Hillary Clinton's collusion with the Russians, where they put tens of millions of dollars
uranium
into the Clinton Foundation. Unbelievable. But then they want to find out, did someone with President Trump actually talk in some ways?
Okay.
And then they complain about me. By the way,
I'm about to lose you.
I've had a lot of people who attack me. I am the chairman of the committee that oversees our relations with Russia. It is my job.
You have a specific message for the President of the United States, but it's only one that you could tell him privately. In this environment, is it going to be hard to tell him privately? Because, Dana Rohrabacher is now sending back messages from Julian Assange. Is that going to be possible? And if not, will you go public with what you know? And obviously, Julian Assange probably wants to just be left alone and go to Ecuador, is what I'd imagine, right?
I think that's probably it. I think what we have here, it's really important for the truth to be known. And I think the President of the United States needs to hear what the details are. And I understand that a meeting with myself and the President is being arranged. So at that point, the purpose is to alert the American people to the truth of what this whole situation is.
If he has the truth that will blow this lie out of the water that you're saying, and 99% certainty, does he deserve immunity if he reveals the truth to the American people?
Well, if the truth is revealed to the American people, this is a game changer in this unrelenting hostile attack by the media and this power grab by the left wing. And if he helps thwart that, he deserves a reward.
All right, Dana Rohrabacher, we're going to have you back next week. We'll stay on this story. This is a pretty blockbuster. When we come back, I'll talk.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending, but first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, no regulation.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of classified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary,
Nothing was marked classified.
there is evidence.
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my God.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was a mistake.
That was determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains were top
Was the
secret.
best choice.
6 of those chains
I said it
secret.
was a mistake.
8 contained confidential information.
What difference at this point does it
With
make?
respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains were top
It was not a good choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contained confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
I misunderstood. I apologize. We briefed the congressional leadership about what Americans we had opened counterintelligence investigation cases on, and we specifically said the president is not one of those Americans. But
Okay.
there was no other investigation of the president that we were not mentioning at that time. What the context was counterintelligence, but I wasn't trying to hide some criminal investigation of the president.
And was the president under investigation at the time of your dismissal on May 9th?
No.
Mr. President, now, as we continue to grieve with the people of Las Vegas, the families of the injured and the deceased, and I think of the pictures I see of those beautiful young people who had the best of life ahead of them, you ache for
Could at
them.
least try to sound sincere. It's
But our
humor.
thoughts must turn to action. So
Here
this
we go.
doesn't happen
Here's the
again.
gun pitch.
What can we do as a nation to change? Because surely, when there are more mass shootings this year than there are the number of days this year, when we average more than one mass shooting per day, something has
That's
to
a
change.
lie.
Sure, if you ask the grieving families, do they want the laws to change so this might not happen again, the overwhelming majority would say yes. They would want us to do something. If we could talk to those brave souls who were killed and are now in heaven,
Oh, here's the pity card.
they would say,
Oh,
do
we
something.
got to take your
They
guns
wouldn't
away
say,
from you.
let's wait. They wouldn't say, leave things alone. The fact
Yeah,
that
they
were
would.
killed, the fact that there are so many injured,
What are you, a
they
fucking
wouldn't
mind
think it's
reader
political to try and save
the
their
dead?
lives or prevent somebody else from dying the way they did. So when folks say don't bring politics into this, it's inappropriate. And I am sure that the families of the loved ones who were lost would agree with me that it is appropriate and important and necessary. Politics is where we're supposed to come together and debate the great problems of our time in order to find solutions to them. Politics is how we're supposed to make our country a better, safer, more prosperous place to live. And there is no more appropriate time than now to talk about the issue of gun violence. Now, yesterday, President Trump visited Las Vegas. I'm glad he went to show our solidarity and remind everyone there they have the full support of the nation. But he didn't talk about guns.
He's not supposed to, you
There's a
stupid
huge
fuck.
opportunity he missed to lead this nation in
Yeah.
a reasonable, moderate debate on gun safety. But that opportunity is not over. The president still has the opportunity. All eyes are on the president to see if he'll grasp the opportunity and lead the nation to do something reasonable and moderate
And Take
about
the
guns and
American
gun safety?
people's guns. Say it, Chucky
President
the fucking
Trump?
cry bitch.
Are you going to wait to hear what the NRA says first? Are
It's
you
called
gonna
the
wait
American people, you cocksucker.
for the NRA to give you the green light?
My Second Amendment is
You
not
ran your
up for fucking
campaign saying
debate.
you were beholden to no one. You fashion yourself as a strong man. Well, are you going to show that you are not beholden to anyone now? Are you going to show your strength now?
The minute you stop being
Are you going to be
beholden
the
to
first
teachers and
president,
unions, you
Republican
cocksucker,
president in a generation to buck
and
the
big
NRA?
pharma.
Mr. President, you know what the right thing to do is.
Yeah, tell you to
I
fuck
say to
off.
President Trump, come out and say that you support and would sign a law to ban bump stocks.
Nope.
Modification
Fuck
used
you.
by the Las Vegas gunman to make his weapons automatic.
Nope.
That's small.
Because then you're going to want something else.
And it's
Then
the
you're going
right
to want
thing to
something
do.
else. Then you're going to want something else.
Don't wait for the
and
NRA.
then we don't own guns anymore.
Make up their mind.
And then we're stuck living under
it.
fucking people like you.
Of course, bump stocks can't be our only response.
See, there it is.
It's hardly enough, even though we should do whatever we can in this body.
Right.
So,
And we're supposed to be talking about what today? The
We
confirmation
must
hearing
do more.
of another
Abandoning
cabinet
efforts
member.
to deregulate silencers would be a next step. The police were able to figure out where the gunman was because of the noise from his gun in the Mandalay Bay
Now we got to do
Hotel.
silencers too.
Let's forget about implementing a national concealed carry reciprocity.